There is a version of you that has been drained. Not by enemies, not by strangers, but by people you opened doors for. People you stayed up worrying about. People you gave pieces of yourself to and watched them walk away with those pieces, never once looking back. Machiavelli saw this coming 500 years ago. He watched princes fall. He watched generals lose empires. And in almost every case, the collapse didn't begin with an outside attack. It began with the people they refused to let go of. What I'm about to share with you is not cynicism. It is not cruelty. It is a map. A map that the most psychologically aware people in history have used to protect everything that matters to them. There are 6 kinds of people you must stop trying to save. And if even one of them is in your life right now, this video might be the most important 15 minutes you spend this year.
Most people encounter Machiavelli as a villain. The name itself has become shorthand for ruthlessness, for manipulation, for the removal of conscience from decision-making. That reading is lazy, and it's wrong. Niccolò Machiavelli was a Florentine statesman who spent his life watching what actually happens. Not what should happen, not what people claim happens, but the raw, unfiltered reality of human behavior under pressure. He watched men who were loved become destroyed by the very people who claimed to love them. He watched rulers who gave everything lose everything. And he concluded something that still makes people uncomfortable today. Compassion, when it is not paired with discernment, is not a virtue. It is a vulnerability. And vulnerabilities, in a world that does not always mean you well, will eventually be found. This is not a call to become cold. It is a call to become clear. There is a profound difference between those two things. And by the end of this, you will know exactly where that line is. The first type, the architect of chaos. The first type Machiavelli warned about is the person who seems to attract disaster the way a wound attracts infection. You know this person. Every few months, there is a new crisis. A new emergency. A new reason why life is falling apart. And a new reason why they need you to help hold the pieces together. And here is the thing about them. They are not lying about the chaos. The chaos is real. But what they will never show you, what they may not even be fully aware of themselves, is that they are the one building it. Not consciously. Not with malice, but with a pattern of choices, of avoidances, of reactions, that reliably, repeatedly, produces the same wreckage, and then reaches for the nearest person who cares. Machiavelli described this in terms of what he called the chronically unlucky. His observation was precise. Some people carry their misfortune not as accident, but as habit. The circumstances change. The disaster is always the same shape. Now here is where it becomes dangerous for you specifically. When you help this person through one crisis, you do not solve their problem. You interrupt the consequence that might have finally forced them to change. And in doing that, with all the love and all the good intention in the world, you become part of the mechanism that keeps them exactly where they are. Robert Greene, writing about this same principle, called it the law of infection. And the word is deliberate, because chaos has a way of expanding beyond the person who generates it. It finds its way into your schedule, your mental space, your relationships, your sleep. The most loving thing you can do for someone who lives in perpetual chaos is not to keep catching them. It is to step aside, hold the boundary, and let the fall teach them what your help never could. That is not cruelty. That is the only real form of respect. The second type, the bottomless pit. The second type is the one that costs the most. Not because of what they take, but because of what they never give back. Ingratitude. Machiavelli considered it one of the most reliable predictors of who a person truly is. Not their words, not their intentions, but their pattern of response after they have received from you. The ungrateful person is not necessarily a bad person. They are simply someone for whom receiving has become so normalized, so expected, that it no longer registers as something that came from another human being's sacrifice. Think about what that actually means in practice. You stay late to help them. You loan what you don't have to spare. You show up when it costs you something real. And the response, if there is one at all, is a brief acknowledgement before the next request begins. Over time, something quiet happens inside you. You start to shrink what you offer. Not because you've become selfish, but because some part of your nervous system has registered the pattern. What you give here disappears without a trace. There is no return, not of gratitude, not of reciprocity, not even of recognition. Machiavelli's warning was this: a man who gives to the ungrateful does not become generous. He becomes foolish, and he becomes the architect of his own diminishment. The hard truth is that some people will take everything you have to give and experience your generosity not as a gift, but as evidence that more is available. You are not helping them grow. You are training them to reach. Stop reaching back, not with anger, not with a confrontation. Just stop, and watch who notices, and watch who doesn't. That information is more valuable than anything they ever took from you. The third type, the smiling saboteur. The third type is the one that is hardest to identify, because they do not look like a threat. They look like a supporter. Envy wears many disguises. In its most sophisticated form, it wears the face of a friend. This is the person who congratulates you, who shares your posts, who shows up at the celebration, and yet quietly, reliably, and always with a smile, does something that chips at what you are building. They mention your idea to someone else before you have a chance to execute it. They introduce a doubt at exactly the moment you needed certainty. They frame your success to others in a way that feels like a compliment, but carries a shadow. I'm so happy for them, though I do think they got a bit lucky. Machiavelli was unambiguous about this type. He called them the most dangerous category of adversary, not because their damage is dramatic, but because it is invisible. By the time you feel the wound, they are already handing you a bandage. Here is how you identify them. Watch not what they say to your face, but what happens in the room when you are not there. Watch whether your growth makes them lighter or quieter. Watch whether your wins are met with genuine expansion of energy, or with something that looks like warmth but feels like distance. Envy cannot fully hide itself. It shows up in micro moments, in the fractional pause before the congratulation, in the question that sounds like curiosity but is actually excavation, in the way they orbit your success without ever celebrating it cleanly. Machiavelli's lesson here is not to become paranoid. It is to become observant. You do not need to expel everyone who feels a flicker of envy. That is a human emotion, and nearly everyone experiences it. What you must remove from your inner circle is the person who has chosen to act on it while pretending otherwise. That combination, envy plus concealment, is not a character flaw you can fix with enough trust or enough warmth. It is a decision, and it is a decision being made consistently at your expense. Protect the architecture of what you are building. Not every person who watches you build deserves a key to the blueprint. The fourth type, the professional victim. The fourth type weaponizes something most people consider sacred. They weaponize pity. There is a category of person who has discovered, consciously or not, that suffering is currency. That the story of their pain is a tool that moves people. That if they remain in a perpetual state of wound, the world will keep bringing bandages. And the most efficient carrier of that bandage, someone like you. Someone who feels. Someone who finds it almost physically impossible to walk past a person who is bleeding and not try to help. Here is what Machiavelli understood that most compassionate people do not want to accept: Some suffering is genuine and deserves your presence. And some suffering is a performance, refined over years, that is designed, however unconsciously, to generate a specific response. The test is this. When you help them, when you give your time, your attention, your emotional labor, do they get better? Does anything change? Or does the suffering find a new shape, the crisis find a new form, and the need for your presence remain constant? The professional victim does not want a solution. They want an audience. Solutions are threatening because solutions end the story. And if the story ends, so does the power it holds over the people around them. This is not a moral failing on their part that you can correct with more patience. It is a deeply ingrained psychological pattern that requires professional support and, most critically, their own willingness to change, neither of which you can provide by continuing to be present. Machiavelli's position was stark. Pity, when it is manufactured, is a manipulation. And responding to it as though it were genuine does not make you kind. It makes you a resource being quietly consumed. You are allowed to feel compassion for a person and still draw the line. These two things are not contradictions. The compassion is for who they could become. The line is for who they are choosing to be right now. Hold both, but let the line stand. The fifth type, the arrogant fool. The fifth type will frustrate you more than any of the others. Because you can see exactly what they need to do. The answer is clear. The path is obvious. And they will not take it. Not because they cannot see it, but because seeing it would require them to admit that they were wrong. This is the unteachable person. Not the person who is slow to learn. Not the person who needs time and patience. The person who has sealed themselves so thoroughly inside the fortress of their own self-image that new information cannot get in. Machiavelli studied this type with particular attention because it was this type that most reliably destroyed empires. Not enemies from outside. Leaders from within who could not hear counsel, who surrounded themselves with people willing to confirm what they already believed, who called correction an attack and called disagreement betrayal. You have probably tried with this person. You have offered the perspective gently, then directly, then with evidence, then with frustration, and at every stage they heard not your message but their own reflection in it. Filtered through ego, distorted into criticism, rejected. And here is what that process cost you. Your credibility with yourself. Because every time you walk away from that conversation having failed to break through, there is a small voice that asks whether you said it wrong, whether you chose the wrong moment, whether you are the problem. You are not. Machiavelli's lesson is simple and devastating. You cannot teach a man who has decided he already knows. The decision to learn must come from inside the person. It cannot be installed from outside, no matter how correct you are, no matter how much you care about the outcome. What you can do is stop spending your energy on a wall that will not move. You can invest that same energy in people who are genuinely hungry for growth, and watch what happens to your own trajectory when you stop carrying the weight of someone else's refusal. The arrogant fool is not your student. Do not spend your life as their teacher. The sixth type, the scorpion. The sixth type is the one you will give the most chances to, because they are the ones you already know, the ones you already love, the ones who have hurt you before, and then changed, and then hurt you again. The repeat offender. This is not the person who made a mistake. People make mistakes. Mistakes are sharp and specific and followed by genuine recognition. The repeat offender is different. Their pattern is not a mistake. It is a behavior that has happened enough times that it has a shape, a rhythm, a predictable arc. They hurt you. There is a rupture. There is remorse, and the remorse feels real, because in the moment, it often is. There is a period of improvement. There is hope. And then, gradually or suddenly, the cycle begins again. Machiavelli wrote about this in the context of political alliances, but the psychology is identical in personal relationships. He observed that when a man shows you his nature clearly, not once, not by accident, but repeatedly, you are no longer permitted to call yourself surprised by what follows. The information has been given. The choice to ignore it is yours. This is the one that requires the most from you, because the scorpion in your life is not a stranger. They are someone whose good moments were real, someone who contains genuine warmth alongside the pattern that keeps hurting you. And that combination, the warmth and the wound, is precisely what makes it impossible to leave. Because every time you are about to go, the warmth returns, and your brain, which is wired to seek connection and to hope, holds on to that warmth and tells you the wound was the exception. It is not the exception. The wound and the warmth are the same person, and only one of them is consistent. Machiavelli's teaching here is perhaps his most ruthless. He said, "A man who is harmed by someone he trusted and then returns to trust the same person is not loyal. He is a tool, and tools get used. You are not a tool, but you may have been behaving like one." The hardest boundary you will ever draw is not with an enemy. It is with someone who means something to you and who has made it clear, through the only language that matters, that they will not stop. Draw it anyway. 6 types. 6 patterns that Machiavelli identified not to teach you how to harm people, but to teach you how to stop being harmed by them. I want to be clear about something before you walk away from this. This is not permission to become closed. It is not an argument for treating everyone around you with suspicion. The ability to identify who drains you is not valuable unless it is paired with the clarity to recognize who restores you. Because those people exist too. And one of the reasons they often don't get enough of you is because the wrong people have taken too much. Machiavelli understood something that most of his critics have always missed. His philosophy was not about power for power's sake. It was about survival in a world that does not reward naivety. It was about protecting what you are building, your energy, your peace, your potential, so that you can actually be of use to the world, so that you have something left to give. You cannot pour from an empty vessel. That is not a motivational poster. That is a law. And the people described in this video, the chaos architects, the ungrateful, the envious smilers, the victims who perform, the unteachable, and the ones who keep coming back to sting you, they are not evil. Most of them are suffering in their own way. Most of them are running their own patterns without full awareness. But their suffering is not your debt. Their patterns are not your responsibility to fix. And the fact that you can feel for them, genuinely, deeply feel for them, does not obligate you to remain inside the damage. Machiavelli wrote, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." Most people read that as a call to become cold. But read it again. If you cannot be both. The ideal is both. The ruthlessness only appears when the situation makes warmth impossible. When warmth has been used against you enough times that continuing to offer it is no longer wisdom. It is damage. Know the difference. That knowledge, that specific, clear-eyed ability to tell the difference between a person worth opening for and a person worth stepping away from. That is not a cold skill. That is the most sophisticated emotional intelligence a human being can develop. And it begins with what you just did. You sat with this. You let it challenge something. That matters. If you recognize someone in what I described today, not to condemn them, but because the pattern finally has a name, tell me in the comments which one hit closest. I read them. And next week, we are going inside the specific tactics the smiling saboteur uses, because that type is so misunderstood that most people are living with one and calling it friendship.